This is Jay Sanders, and it's been a little bit, so I thought I'd do kind of a ramble video, kind of talk about what's going on with the channel and just in general, I guess. But yeah. So this is live. So if you have any questions, go for it. And let's see. I always forget about how to pull it. Okay, there we go. Okay, so been up to a decent amount of things here on the channel this year. Not as nearly as much as last year. I wouldn't say in comparison. I've been finding as much. See, it seems like a lot of people and labels have been slowing down. Um, but I would still say the stuff that I've been finding is yeah, it been really good. Still plenty of people active. Um, but yeah, this year I've had 4 mixes. I had 2 vaporwave ones, an electronic one, and then an edutainment one. That one, I've never done one like that one before, but yeah, yeah. So this year for vaporwave, we've had some, um, yeah, a couple mixes. One called Daydream Diaries, and then one a couple of months ago called Hello Everybody Already. Yeah, and then another one a couple of months ago called Perfect Getaway. And yeah, both of these are kind of assortment, all kinds of stuff arranged for more kind of party to more chill to more kind of cerebral towards the end. Um, People like My Dreamy Adventure, who does both, kind of synthwave stuff as well as more vaporwave style, and then of course Tupperwave. He samples all kinds of great stuff. Um, yeah, he's on there. Ali is on there. Arograph, a really great kind of newish synthwave producer as well. Um, yeah, and then currently I've been kind of weekly checking up on SoundCloud and places like that, and kind of still been gathering stuff. Not enough to fully have another one just yet, but definitely here pretty soon. We'll see. So, but yeah, and of course I'm always open to suggestions. I'm always looking for new artists. Um, yeah, new compilations, labels. There's always there's something popping up. So um, yeah, and then of course what I like to do is if I see somebody come up with something new that I listen to on SoundCloud, I'm always check out whatever they favorited recently. Yeah, because a lot of people, they're buddies with each other, so it's kind of easy to find a lot of these people that way. Um, yeah, and then of course a lot of them they'll promote stuff. They'll show up on compilations, and yeah, that always helps out a lot. But yeah, hopefully that kind of thing, both in vaporwave and electronic. Um, Looking for all kinds of stuff, hoping to find more stuff as always. Yeah. So November, of course, he's another great one in terms of the synth wave side of things. Um, yeah, definitely reminiscent of the month November. Um, yeah. What's up, Bollocks? What's up, Blue? Um, Supreme says, "Do you have a favorite mix?" One of my favorite ones is from a few years ago, Late Shifters, and then last year I did a visual version of that one. Um, yeah, that's one of my favorite. It has some of my favorite artists on that one. Like Aroma Virtual, My Dream Adventure, of course, and then Aroma Virtual is Celeste, or that's more kind of on the Latin wave side of things. Um, yeah, and then of course. actor, I believe. Yeah, yeah. There's all kinds of people on there that I've been just a fan of for a long time. And then, of course, the visuals. I was either able to gather up stuff, for like over a year from YouTube, from just all kinds of like channels that gather like VHS tapes and archive all this stuff, like HBO promos, commercials, um, even like full movies that you can even find for free. They're like free range at this point. Shows like The Knight Rider, some cartoon commercials for like He-Man and stuff like that. And GI Joe, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, but yeah, that was a big one for me. And then of course some of the flashback episodes. Those are made of all kinds, or made up of songs from the the past, mixes from over the past 7 to 8 years, and that one was a few years ago at this point. But yeah, this is what, like the 11th or so year now. But yeah, um, that's some of my favorite stuff on there. One of my earlier favorites, of course, is probably regularly scheduled programming. That's some of the very the fuzzy kind of songs you hear on like a local access station. One of the more chill ones for me. Yeah, definitely. The Dollar Mix. Yeah, Bollocks. He says that's his favorite one. Yeah, that one has a lot of hits for me as well, and yeah, that one was made several years ago at a time where I was finding like way more stuff, and yeah, when there was way more of like kind of a boom on a lot of those labels, where they were finding a lot of newcomers, a lot of people were more active, and um, yeah, so that one I was it was a time where I was actually making it bouncing back between that one and another mix, making them at the same time because I was gathering stuff for dollar menu, the one that he mentioned. Yeah, and and then the more darker, kind of cerebral, atmospheric ones, those went into the another one that I think I forget if I released that one before or after, but one called Cities That Breathe. Yeah, that mix. Yeah, those were both around the same time. So yeah, those more kind of introverted ones for sure. But yeah, glad everybody likes them. Thanks, guys. Thank you, Orlando, of course. All right, so yeah, in terms of mixes, so yeah, Perfect Getaway is the newest Vaporwave one. Um, yeah, quickly, one of my favorite ones recently as well. One I'll listen to sometimes because yeah, it has um, yeah, just ones that are really fresh in my mind. Um, of course, but yeah, that newer one from Tupperwave is always good. Actually, My Dreaming Adventure, he's in there. He's been coming out with some stuff more recently as well. I found him a while back on I think Elemental 97 is the label. That's another one that just disappeared after a while, but and he's one of my favorites to kind of come out of that area. Yeah, one of the ones he's kind of everywhere. Captain Fridge. I like that name. Yeah, he says he likes Cities of Brief. Thank you. Glad you like that one. Yeah, um, yeah, and then another new one, or a new electronic mix this year. this summer. It was a few months ago. It was called Songs for Titan. The Titan is in the moon. But yeah, that one is all electronic songs. Most of them more danceable. That are very reminiscent to me, at least, of like a crazy kind of like a sci-fi action kind of movie, or yeah, really just space in general. Um, yeah, the kind of songs that kind of go everywhere to me on kind of the electronic spectrum, and mostly newer tracks. Yeah, on a lot of these, I like to try to keep it more current and explore what everybody's doing, of course. And then, of course, I always like to throw in like older classics every now and then too, and most of the mixes. But yeah, there's people like Actress on this one of his newer tracks. A newer song from Resit is on there. Zevra, of course, and then Martin. Martin's another great one, very influenced by kind of like the '90s, movement of pretty much every style of like techno house. Um, yeah, very melodic, I would say as well. Um, Pleasure Model is on this mix too. A very good lo-fi track from him. Um, but yeah, I tried to make that one pack as much a punch as I could. So yeah, I'll always cruise through electronic labels and places like that, like Bleep.com. But yeah, and then of course Ninja Tune has plenty of stuff. Like Actress. He came out of there. He's got a little label on there called Work. And then, of course, Flying Lotus has a label on there called Brain Feeder. A lot of good people on there as well, like Sam I Am and Brandon Coleman, all kinds of people. But yeah, always looking for new stuff as usual. Yeah, I have a more video game one that I have planned here pretty soon. But yeah, and of course the last the fourth mix I did this year was this was also a video game mix, but yeah, a very '90s themed one. A couple of the tracks are also I think from the early 2000s as well, but yeah, mostly kind of a '90s thing. Some of them are from '80s, some are very almost are also very very atmospheric as well. The stuff that I always thought was very unique for a lot of those kind of educational kids games from the '90s that I was playing when I was a kid, like Magic School Bus, Carmen San Diego, um, the Zoom Beanies. That one was, as a puzzle game, which like to this day is still like super challenging, even for an adult. But yeah, both the art styles in a lot of those games and the music had a lot of interesting experimentation going on in terms of electronic. A lot of I threw in a lot of tropical stuff in there as well. um, yeah, pretty much whatever I could find. Um, yeah, but I'm glad I got a decent amount of feedback from that one too. But yeah, so that's mainly what's been going on with the mixes this year. And then of course with the uploads, um, I've had yeah, I've had quite a decent amount of single uploads this year. I would say. Um, I've finding some older stuff from people like Flying Lotus, and of course keeping up with people like Wave, um, Obliv, My Dreamy Adventure, Aroma Virtual. It's always been a big favorite one for me. Zevra Zephyr is yeah, a really great one in terms of the kind of 90s influenced techno electronic. Kind of goes everywhere. But yeah, upload stuff from J Words as well. And Wavy is also a really good kind of newish kind of synthwave producer I've got into here recently. Um, yeah, been beginning. He's been getting a little bit bigger on SoundCloud as well, which is pretty good. It's always good to see um, kind of like a good balance of people getting enough representation on on all platforms, instead of just just rather than just one. Supreme Plug says, "What do you think about Telepath?" Always love their stuff actually. I don't know if they've actually come with anything new in a while. I'd have to check up, but yeah, I've always loved their stuff. Quite a lot of my mixes feature their stuff as well. I've always liked to close a bunch of mixes in the past with their stuff too, especially a lot of their tracks are so long, often from like 7 to sometimes 10 or 15 minutes. Um, yeah, I've always loved their stuff. I always loved their super kind of very dreamy, very put you to sleep in like a really good kind of a way. What they do with a lot of these great kind of funk, um, kind of pop samples. Slows it down even more than the average. In terms of reverb. There's always a lot of great effects going on. Very shadowy, very smoky, um, very vapory. Very lives up to the name. Definitely, um, yeah, definitely matches up with the artwork that goes along with a lot of those, um, album covers and stuff from Telepath too. There's a lot of light, mixed with shadow. It's a very metropolitan too, very city based, very at night, very takes place at night. I was yeah, very. I always felt that it very always sets the mood for sure. Always been a big one for me in terms of the vaporwave world. Yeah. The ocean. It's called. Glad you like that one. That one's. Yeah, that was one of the more dreamier ones, definitely. Okay, glad you guys like that one, and yeah, definitely have something planned in the future for sure. Um, yeah, I've been working on my own stuff as well as mainly as Geronimo. That's the more electronic stuff that I make from scratch and kind of use um, little percussion samples from all kinds of percussion packs and all types of synth styles. But yeah, I'm hopefully planning to have an EP or something out by the end of this year. Um, if not early next year, we'll see. But yeah, I've finished a couple things and I have something in the works um, as well. I've been working on FL Studio and stuff. Also, be getting more into the some of the vapor stuff as well again. Because I'll get back. Because I always get back to that. Occasionally when I find some, you know, something I feel really works. You have a Discord. Yeah, I can actually link that later. Yeah, after I do the video, I'll link some stuff. Like the newer mixes and Discord and stuff like that. For sure. Yeah, yeah. So, and of course, an artist that I've been listening to for a decent amount too recently. One that I'll go back to a lot. A guy called Body Code. His name is Alan Abrams. He's also known as Portable. But yeah, I uploaded a mix from him recently that I never saw on YouTube before. An older one on from Resident Advisor. This is a website that's been home to quite a lot of mixes, in the past and present in terms of electronic, and he's been a big one for me. Um, I'd imagine a lot of people have probably heard of Ghostly International. Ghostly is named after a space ghost who basically spawned Adult Swim, pretty much as the first show, and the website, and of course their bumps also always promote just a huge amount of interesting people through electronic, hip hop, rock, pop, all of it really. And so yeah, they've had compilations called a Ghostly International, three at this point actually, three different compilations. A lot of great stuff, and of course one called Unclassified. Actress and Luke were on there. Um, a bunch of different people have been on there, but yeah. Um, Tori Moore has been he's been on Com Trues, of course. He's been on the Adult Swim singles program that Adult Swim does. I think every year, hey baby, where they do a bunch of different singles, basically that are usually exclusives and promotion, and it's always introduced me to a lot of good stuff. Introduces a lot of people to a lot of interesting stuff. But yeah, Ghostly International is probably their biggest one. I would say Com Trues and Tycho are their biggest ones for sure. Matthew Deere is a big one, of course, in terms of the the more interesting, kind of intricate, darker side of pop. Um, yeah, and of course, Body Code and Matthew Deere. I've always thought they're somewhat similar singing styles. Yeah, in terms of like their deepness, like the kind of the way they're singing. It's also kind of evocative of stuff from the '80s as well. Um, but yeah, Body Code is another one that he can't. He's had some stuff on Ghostly Records as well as their sister label called Spectral, which is all dance, more like club oriented stuff, and so yeah, Body Code, and of course his moniker Portable. He's been very attentive just into the whole world of like kind of African style electronic music stuff that's very intricate in terms of rhythm, and of course very inspired by again '90s, all kinds of like Chicago house, Detroit techno, that everything really. It's kind of a mix mash of everything, kind of a futuristic version of like tribal beats, you would hear in Africa or something like that. Um, yeah, he's still active, of course. He's got all kinds of stuff for both the dance floor and just as well as just the headphone kind of bedroom world as well. Um, but yeah, African Hinge. Yeah. Actually, yeah, Bodika, I think he actually is from South Africa, if I'm not mistaken. It's got like kind of a British kind of accent, I think. But yeah. So what else we got going on? Okay. In terms of games, I've been going back and forth again to stuff like the older Diablo games, and of course just good old like fast and Tetris 2, which is basically Dr. Mario but with like four-sided pieces instead of two. But yeah, come on, baby. Hey, sweet pie. And and of course Tetris Attack is another good one, kind of an addictive kind of puzzle game that gets very fast paced as it goes. Hey, sweetie, come on, sweetie pie. You just come say hi. Does this let me flip the camera? Yeah. And, hi, Debbie. My black cat. Yeah, I'm in a new apartment right now. Unfortunately, like this room doesn't have like a light bulb, so I've been using like my neon light, and it got dark. So, but yeah, I see. There we go. There's like a better look at her. Uh, yeah, it's Debbie. She's sweetie. Okay, I'm gonna flip it back. So 9 years. Yeah. But yeah. So work has been going pretty well as well. Got actually we did more hours recently, but yeah, got a day off today. Yeah, it's normally two a day, or I'm sorry, two a week. Mid-30s for a cat. Yeah, yeah. I would say it has been well at least five. She's been around for 5 years at this point. So yeah, she's super sweet, super affectionate. And yeah, working at the store that's been going on pretty good for the most part. It always sucks, but like the managers seem to just disappear at night. I think we'll have like little problems like that because we'll get problems with like the customers getting impatient, like rightfully so. But um, yeah, other than that, just putting stuff on shelves really. But it's going pretty good and keeping up with rate and everything, keeping up with food, all that good stuff, and talked about songs. Um, College, I've thought about picking it up again. We'll see, but yeah. In terms of music production, um, I got my associates last year, so we'll see about because I had to take a break because like in terms of juggling that with work, it was getting hectic. Um, very busy, but yeah. I've thought about picking it back up. Um, Also, have to keep paying loans. That'll kind of like halt it again. Um, but it's definitely something I've thought of picking up again, and not necessarily stopping, but kind of taking a break from. But at this point, it's been a year, so this next one will be doing the studio and stuff again because the last semester when I finished everything up, that was basically mainly the core classes, like English and another one of those history classes. But yeah, then of course there was a kind of a leftover one from music, which is freelance. But in terms of production, and the more studio ones where you go over there and you're at a studio, um, I had finished all those up. So if I want to shoot for another diploma, then it's back to the studio, back over there, and we're we're talking about making at least what like 3 songs instead of one that you have to get ready. in terms of that one studio class where it usually involves them wanting you make like a song or in case of later on like an EP or whatever. Um, so I'd imagine if you're going for masters, I wouldn't be surprised if they're wanting you to do like a full album or something in terms of like recording or producing. They always like you to um, mix and match or whatever you can produce and then um, kind of record stuff into it as well. That was also want you to do like little essays about how you produce it as well. Oftentimes, you'll even do like little kind of quick, like basically, yeah, the monologues showing them how you did, pulling it up on the thing, um, kind of showing, what how you put everything in. But yeah, he says, Supreme Plug asks, where do you go to college? I guess I can finally say, I guess it's not that big of a deal, but yeah, um, yeah, it's a place called UCO. Yeah, yeah, UCO. They have a sector called ACM, which is a music academy basically, um, which is for performers and producers. So in my case, I'll be in the producer part of it. But they do also often have you do kind of um, performance classes as well. Like I did one in piano, which is a decent and kind of helping you with music theory and things like that, how melodies and things work. And yeah, and of course, they do that with the performers. I think the performers will also have like a studio class as well, so then they get the gist of it. Um, but yeah, it's it's a place that has a lot of people who are, I would say, really big in the music industry, and a lot of put a lot of things forward in terms of production and it's not just studio production, but also live production. That's another class that I did is kind of doing stuff in the live area, sort of teaching you how to get speakers and everything set up in live concert halls and things like that. Um, that one was inside. Maybe in the future, maybe they'll take us like to an outside thing and see how that could be interesting. But yeah, very. Yeah, interesting. I would say I did pretty well in it. The only one that I did okay, and it was like I'd say the one where it's just about business, where in a lot of terms is basically math. But, yeah, but yeah. So if I want to shoot for another diploma, then yeah, we'll be doing. I'd have to do core classes again, and I have to do math at that point, like actual like a math class or whatever. But yeah. Hi, Feisty. Miss Feisty. Yeah, she's also a sweetie pie. But yeah, also basically the same age. Yeah, she's Siamese. She's basically made up of every like Siamese color ever. Um, yeah, but yeah, this bed right here, this has been our spot since for a while. But what else? Yeah, Yeah, for games, of course, I always go back to the Need for Speed stuff. That's always a big series of mine for sure. Yeah. Hope y'all are doing good. Jeez, yeah, it's November, so we're at the point where it's already getting dark at like 8. But yeah, thanks for the I'm gonna read in the comments. Thanks for the comments, everybody. Okay, so what else in terms of TV? Mainly listening to comedy, I guess. A lot of comedians like Ronnie Chang and Jim Gaffigan. Jim Gaffigan has been a big one for me since I've been like a kid, I think. When he would show up on like Comedy Central Presents or whatever. Um, yeah, he's probably like one of the main kings of like observational to me for sure. Yeah. Yeah, and he came out with another one recently. Yeah, he's definitely one of the more active ones. He'll usually come out with something every couple of years. Um, yeah, his Amazon or whatever one was funny, where it was like one in Mexico. Yeah, and then one in Canada, I think. Like jokes about like travel, basically. But yeah, he's the one that did the famous like slew of jokes about hot pockets, um, from a while back. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that clip of that joke from that special, I think that was the first video I ever watched on YouTube in what, like 2006, when I was what, like 11 or no, like 12, I think. But yeah, um, I think when I Googled it, I was like, it showed up on there. And yeah, that was his official channel, and he's still putting stuff on there, even during like the virus, a couple of years ago, when of course theaters and stuff had to slow down way more. He got even more active on that channel, almost to the point where he was like uploading entire like stuff from his specials, damn near, or almost entire specials. Because yeah, he's always been that kind of person where he's never minded. He's just always loved the promotion. Um, yeah, especially during a time where being in that profession was becoming difficult when it involves a lot of audience. So yeah, another thing that Jim Gaffigan did, I think he was the first, or one of the first to be part of a thing during the COVID times a few years ago, where um, some of these, him and some of these stand-up comedians would just go out at like a drive-in theater. Another thing, which you don't see like 24/7 as much, which actually kind of brought them back a little bit for a second. The whole drive-in theater thing. Um, so in that case, everybody's definitely separated, definitely following the the code of not being too crowded or whatever. So instead of clapping, they'll all honk or whatever for a joke, I guess. Yeah, yeah, he did what he could with it. Yeah, Ronnie Chang has always been another favorite comedian for me. Um, yeah, he's a funny actor, funny comedian as well, or an actor as well, and of course. Who else? George Carlin, of course, is a more classic example. Lewis Black. He's been around for a while, also active. But, yeah, they're really funny in terms of like the more cynical comedy. Um, Definitely the kind of stuff that was more you tell stuff like Adult Swim stuff like Robot Chicken or Rick and Morty are inspired by in a lot of ways. But yeah. Oh, Smiling Friends. That's another new, the main newer one from Adult Swim for me that I always got a kick out of. A lot of the newer season was pretty funny too. Yeah. All right. But yeah, I think that's about it for the most part. But yeah, I definitely have some things planned here in the future. Not just uploads, but mixes, of course. So I hope you guys stay tuned on that, and definitely everybody, like, thank you for all the comments, not just on this video, but like on videos and mixes in the past. And thank you all for kindness and support. And yeah, um, take it easy, guys, and I'll be seeing y'all very soon. Later.